Right, I think I might head out. As you can see, we've got a nice sun there, but there is a thunderstorm just there. There's just a massive thunderclap and what I think was a bolt of lightning, and I can hear rain as well, but I don't know, I might stick it out because there seems to be blue sky above me. No, it's just the forecast for today was absolutely terrible. It's thunderstorms all day. Just quick before I do, because I'm going to have to clear up what I've got here quickly. Basically, a lot of this collapsed because this was really loose here. I've been sifting the dirt to find the stones and see what's in there. I don't really know, I haven't looked yet, but I mean, that's the initial bit I found, wasn't it? Oh, there it is. There was one big piece I've pulled out of it so far, and once again, to me it just looks like a piece of bone. You could say it's pareidolia. I genuinely don't think it is. They've just got all the hallmarks of bones to me. But I don't think there's really anything of complete interest that I've pulled out of there. But I am interested in why it caved in. There's something here. It caved in around this, and there's a distinct shape there. And this is not really, I can't really see this colour sand anywhere else around here. And there's this dark burgundy colour. The only place I've seen that exact same thing is up here. And you've got the burgundy colour and you've got the yellow there. So I'm going to have to go because the storm is definitely coming. Yeah, it's going to be it for today. But it was good. I'm happy with what I've done so far. So we've got a tile buried in there. I've got a tile over here. And I've uncovered quite a large area here. So yeah, this one's a definite mystery. I really don't know what the fuck I'm dealing with here. It's these stones that I'm pulling out of it are really frying me. Right, I really need to go because it's starting to rain. Is that another tile? Oh man, I need to tidy up. No, it's just a tiny piece of... Yeah, here comes the rain. Oh, see, that's like the meat and a bone. I don't know. Mysterious, to say the least. Right, I'm going to clear this up before I go. I don't want anything sort of going wrong with it, and I guess I'll leave the site as it is. Okay, yeah, ciao. Good morning. It's 10:44 on 10th of September, and I've returned back to my dig site. I'll give a quick recap of what I found here. Came here, initial thoughts that I was looking at a mud fossil. Still think that's entirely possible. My initial sort of like find was this thing in here, which I don't know what it is. It could be just a stratus layer, but I don't think it is. Because of the other things that I've been finding here, I found some sort of like block thing here. There's more of these red things, whatever. It's just because what I've been digging out of here, I've started to question things quite a lot about how this world is made up. I mean, it's something that I've done through the whole of my life, but it's just throwing up more questions than I was asking beforehand. I found a medieval tile the other day, which, for a bit of research, it's looking like that's probably from the 1200s. I found some medieval tiles and some sort of set stone here. But these are good finds, and I'm really happy with them, and I'm hoping to find more. I've got one down here to dig out. A piece down here, but I think I'm going to find quite a bit more of this stuff, because it seems to be in this layer. But looking at the way this is structured and the layers of sand and dirt, it just, there's something off. But yeah, it's because the stones that I've been pulling out of here, I've questioned flint and stone for quite some time now, and I've pulled out what I know is a fossil at home. From here I've got what looks to be like bone joints that I've pulled out. I mean, like I say, it could be pareidolia. I don't think it is. I've got a lot more at home. Pieces, they've still got blood on them. These look like pieces of bone with blood still on it. I'm guessing the yellow ones are like fat layer. And I found what looks to be something that's been fashioned into possibly a tool of some description for chipping things out. Here's a couple that look like pieces of meat. Like I say, these all come from the same layers. There's a lot that's come out of here. I haven't really had, well, I have had time to go for it, but I haven't, because I haven't taken it home. But yeah, I mean, I first came across a mud fossil myself, possibly I think it was about 2009, 2010. When I was in Portugal, and I found a little flint knife. This was on the beach. At the time I was obsessed with pyramids, and that was about when I found out there's thousands of pyramids across the world, and I was adamant there was one pretty much out in front of us at sea. I could sense it in a way, because the realm that we live in, I don't like to call it a world, because it's like a never-ending story. It creates, it bends, it's malleable, it's a strange place, and it throws up strange questions as to who we are, what we are, why we're here, what can we do, what is our meaning. But anyway, yeah, I found what is a toe. I'll flash up a picture at this point to show you what it is, and that was when I first started questioning what stones were. But once you start thinking about the world that we live in, everything that we walk on was once organic in some description or another. Everything rots down into the earth. So this is, you're taught this and you know this. So it could be plant, it could be an animal, could be a human, could be a fish, what have you. Obviously, like sea creatures apparently make up sand. I think that's a load of old cobblers. I think that's something else. There are tales of giant creatures, but apparently they're not real. But dinosaurs, there's things like that I really question. It's like, why are dragons and griffins and things like that not real when there's plenty of literature on them throughout the whole of history, especially through the medieval period, and they're on flags everywhere, but they're not real, but dinosaurs are, which are pretty similar in a way. I just don't understand why one thing's allowed to be real when it's got lots of like writings about it, and another isn't. It's a very strange thing. So I like to just remain open on anything's possible. We don't know. History has been completely and utterly tampered with over the course of time. Every ruler that comes in changes a new piece of history, erases a piece, places them as the saviour, bloody blah, bloody blah. I mean, we're in the middle of it at the moment, the erasing of recent history to allow certain groups, we'll call them odd fellows, to look like they're the saviours of humanity when they're actually the cause of all our problems, using the Hegelian dialect, which is effectively problem, reaction, solution, playing both sides of the coin. But yeah, so coming back to stones and rocks. So stones and rocks, apparently they are, I mean, they're not all going to be volcanic. There aren't volcanoes everywhere. There are a lot of volcanoes, but they're not fucking everywhere. So animals rot down and they perish and they mineralise. And so when something mineralises, it will change form. It's just the same as like, you know, a solid to a liquid to a gas. It's just a change. It's crystallization of cells. I'm no expert on all of this stuff. I'm a proper layman. I just go by what I observe and pay attention to what I observe, because I've read a lot over the years, and everything I've read I've had to kind of go back on it and go, well, actually a lot of this isn't true nowadays. So a lot of the stuff that I was taught at school is now gone from fact to fiction, and you know, unbelievable. So I started started just try and empty my mind of what I've been taught and just go upon my own personal observations and thoughts. History is a very, very fickle thing to look through. Due to the medieval tile I found, I thought, well, I'll scratch up on a bit of medieval history. It's a big period. There's got to be plenty going on in there, and I think I spent about 2.5-3 hours looking at it, and by the end of it I got to the point where I was just like, this is pretty much a load of old cobblers, really, because there's just repetitive events. They just repeat the same events over and over and over and over again. They barely change the names as well. I mean, I went through 300 years of history of the bloody Vikings, like, invading England. I don't think 300 years of battles really took place. It's just ridiculous. But while doing that, obviously I found the magical words of, with regards to certain places, and that is founded. So buildings that there was an apparent date put to them, but it said founded and not built. There is a big difference between those two phrases. To found something is to establish a group or like a organisation. So or it's the starting of something. It's not the building of it. It's a very different thing. Because this is what's falling apart in our history at the moment, where there's some really good people out there pulling apart what we know as our recent history, especially when it comes to the Victorians and what they did or what they didn't do. And like I say, a certain group that seems to have been the architects of their own history, very odd fellows, erasing history to suit their needs and placing themselves as the builders of everything when they were just the founders. They found these things and took the Freemasonry and I can't remember where I was going with this. Yeah, there's a distinct difference with these things, and like I say, with the erasing of certain histories and that, you don't really know what is and what isn't. So I try to remain open with things and just see what I'm looking at as I'm looking at it, and use my own senses to guide me through this world. Because we are told what to believe and what to think all the time, and it's not your natural state. Your natural state as a human being is, it's kind of to question what's around you. And at the moment there's a big distraction for a whole generation to do exactly the opposite at the moment, and I think that is quite obviously done on purpose. But right, I'm getting completely off the subject here, but yeah, so I started questioning stones that I'm seeing everywhere. Like literally I'm walking over them everywhere, and as I'm walking around I'm seeing things like this. I've just picked this up off the floor. I mean, this is it a piece of bone? You know, is it, what was it? Was it a sea creature? Is it something bigger? I genuinely don't know. There was another piece that I actually threw the other day, and it was kind of horrible, really. It looked like the top of a knee joint, and it still had like blood on it, and you could see like the holes and everything inside where the blood vessels were. And because like bones, they're hollow, they're not hollow, but they have hollow like sections running through them, which makes them quite strong, really. But yeah, it's I'm starting to question what we're walking on everywhere. And once you establish the thought that you are everything you're walking on once was something else, it kind of opens up a whole new world. And obviously, after finding what I found at St Catherine's Hill and establishing that there were things that were much, much bigger than we were ever led to believe, because that whole hill is something, you start looking around and you start seeing things. It could be called pareidolia. Really don't think so. The good guy to look at is Roger over at Mudfossil University. And there are other people that are out looking at things, and they're finding stuff all over the place. So it just, you got to ask, are we just ants terraforming titans, which titans obviously are in our history, giants are in our history, and are we just like miniature in comparison to them? Like, you know, there are questions to be asked. You'll never get the answers to them, I don't think, but it's best to remain open and not assume anything. Yeah, well, that was a bit of a ramble. I'm not really sure how I'm going to edit all this stuff together. It's been a bit random, this dig. We'll get there.